Hi, I'm Chris Parnham, HBAA Chairman.
Hello, I'm Juliet Price, Executive Director for the HBAA. Welcome to the HBAA Forum, Catch Up, Made to Measure, Replay.
This little catch-up summary is a chance for those of you that missed the event to have a taste of what you missed. And also for those that did attend, it's a reminder of some key messages.
We are accountable to you. We drive and steer your association. So please tell us if we measure up to your expectations.
Usually 2 days go by and we wonder, what did we achieve, learn or change during that period? Sometimes a whole week goes by this way, but 2 days in September, something happened. I hope, and feedback tells us, that everyone at the forum got something really useful from those 2 days. Our opening session was called Measuring Up. Dennis Turner began with a fast-paced explanation of the recent global crisis, with some predictions for the future. Turning the corner. He told us the recession is over. What a relief. Since 2007, consumer spending has declined, so government revenues also decline. But government expenditure increases, so it has to borrow. But it's not the borrowing that's the problem, it's the interest, and that's what's hurting most of Europe. Normally in the UK, consumer spending is 64% of GDP. Government spending is 23%, corporate investment is 25%, and net trade is just -2%, that's exports less imports. So while consumer spending has the biggest impact on our economy, it's driven by emotional factors as well as economic. Now, as confidence increases, as will spending, therefore less debt will be required and less interest is paid, so debt comes down. Companies are strong, but they're sitting on cash and not investing. Emotions again. His closing message was feel more confident about the future, because confidence makes the future better. Dennis was followed by Liz Hall from PwC, who presented the results and some interpretation from the survey we conducted with our members ahead of the event. As an industry, we worry most about the economy, increasing costs, and the procurement influence. On the whole, we feel optimistic about the future, and even more optimistic about 2014 than we were about 2013. Most of us spend less than 3% of our turnover on marketing, which is the same or more than the previous year. Events are shorter, with lower budgets, smaller, shorter lead, and also in hub cities. 69% of us feel that the changes the recession has provoked will stick even after recovery. Unsurprisingly, London will see the biggest benefits of growth. We expect on average 5% sales growth next year. After that, we introduced an industry-leading panel to discuss the previous 2 sessions and to take questions from the audience. We welcomed Angie Mason from Absolute Corporate Events, Matthew Wall from BCD M&I, Russell Green from IHG, and Alistair Stewart from Etc. Venues. Here's a little of what they had to say.
I'm a firm believer in keeping life and business very simple. So in terms of what I believe our businesses should do, it would be, as always, to keep eye on our costs, to run a very tight ship, be totally aware of what's going on around us in terms of the economy and how other businesses are performing, and to be flexible and be able to adapt.
Great.
I'm not convinced that diversity is the way to go to offer too much in terms of diversifying our services and our products, but to keep a sharp eye on it.
I think in house business at the moment it's fine. I think we benefit from being mainly London, but I've got a venue in Birmingham, so for those of you who are not in London, I have huge empathy and sympathy for just how tough it is, and full of admiration for just how hard you have to work out of London. I think that dynamic will switch. It's a little bit hot in London at the moment, but I hope we'll see some of the economic ripple go out to the regions.
Thanks, Alistair. And lastly, Matthew.
Good morning, everybody. I thought that both the presentations were excellent, and it just struck me that both of them used this phrase, the new normal. And I think it's difficult to underestimate how much the recession and the economy and what we've all been through has fundamentally changed our business and what we're doing. Those companies with big piles of cash, and I work for a very big company that has big piles of cash as well, and they've done exactly the same thing, not spent it as much as they could have done, won't suddenly start just letting the gushers go and spending money left, right and centre. I thought the slide that Liz put up that had trends and what's happening at the moment, you could make that into a handout give it to people on their first day in the business and tell them kind of, guys, that's what it's going to be like for a little while. Shorter lead times, pressure on costs, more requests for flexibility, more requests for innovation, more added value. That's really going to be the future for us as we come out of this recession.
The event then split into two industry streams, dividing them into venues and agents.
The agents went off to see a session called Technology, Threats and Opportunities.
Faye Sharp led a strong industry panel who listened to and commented on presentations from some of the industry's strongest technology providers.
Some agencies see technology as an opportunity, not a threat. The challenge is, though, venues prefer to see inquiries from us through traditional channels, but corporates like the data and compliance advantages of the technology. Cvent, Starsight and Metron each have corporate solutions they believe would benefit if presented in collaboration with agents.
In the venue stream, we began with a session called the Venue Service Masterclass, Do We Measure Up?
Cassandra Van Eerd reminded the audience of the importance of getting the basics right.
It was a tough session and it was hard to take the harsh reality of criticism, but some really useful key messages were delivered for the audience to take back to their venue or group.
Like product knowledge, know your venue and its facilities. Site inspections, this is a pitch opportunity, so pitch well. The contract, get the details right. And food, it comes second only to people as the main reason clients come back. Both groups had the benefit of the corporate buyer panel. A collection of very experienced ex-corporates was brought together to share their insights of what makes a corporate buy an agency or a venue. The experts shared tips around honesty and reality, preparation and understanding, relationship and stability. They reminded us that we need to assess every opportunity carefully to see if we honestly can be considered a viable partner. Can we deliver what the client needs? If we can, then we need to do our very best to show this clearly, consistently and appropriate to the client needs. Ask questions, build a relationship and deliver what they want. Juliet and I then presented a session called Association Update, updating you, the membership, on how we're doing against our objectives.
And here is the report card that we use to track our progress against the objectives and our activities.
Let's see a little bit of that session.
We stream all our meetings now. In the past we streamed you member and agent, as we've done again today, and tomorrow, as I mentioned this morning, we'll be streaming you as according to your job role. So hopefully we can hit that now much harder and make the content relevant to you. What kind of subjects would get you to an event? What do you want to hear about? And hopefully lots of you recognise your feedback in this week's agenda. We've added customer experience content wherever we can to our meetings. So those of you that have attended a few meetings this year will notice that we don't just talk about the industry. We've introduced some content that's relevant to the customer, because whatever industry you're in, the customer experience is what drives growth, drives profit and builds successful businesses.
We had the session earlier today from the MIA on the AIM accreditation scheme, and that has now provided a new venue member benefit in that as a venue member you can enrol on that scheme with a discount.
Day one concluded with the customer experience, presented by serial entrepreneur Nigel Bottrell.
He told us, don't throw up on your customers. Tell them what they want to hear, not your well-practiced sales or venue pitch.
Customers stay with you because they like you. They leave you because they don't like you. So make friends, invest in the relationship. People want to do business with friends, people they like.
Is it best to have satisfied customers or loyal ones? Is your business the best? Is your service good? Are you the greatest? No? Then leave. Milk your own cows. Generate friends and referrals.
Let's see a little of Nigel in action.
Okay, you sat down with your most important customer, Brona. At that point, who is the most important person in the world? The customer. Oh, okay. Let me put it another way, Brona, okay? You sat down in a meeting with your biggest customer, and one of you has to die. Who's the most important person in the world right now, Brona? Oh, you are. Okay, so we kind of change that, yeah. It's an interesting little bit, but your customers, they are kind of quite important. Although in truth, although we all say that, they all come in truth after ourselves. So why then Given that our customers, your customers, are so important to you, why, when you meet them for the first time, do people, and this is not unique to your industry, this is much more generic than just your trade, but it certainly applies in your industry, why then, when you meet your potentially important customer for the first time, do you puke all over them? Okay, it's a gross slide, I'll take it off. But that is what you do, because when you sit down, and I know because I've been there, and I go and I talk to venues, and, well, we've got this many rooms and this facilities, and we've got this, and blah, blah, puke, puke, puke. And it's all about you. You can't exponentially grow your individual business by doing what you do better. It doesn't work. I mean, it's easier if I explain it in the context of, let's say you are a carpet cleaner. Okay, now it might be that I can clean my carpets, quite a bit better than Penny can. Okay, but in truth, that won't make any difference to the success of the business, providing that we're both competent carpet cleaners. The one of us that would have the most success is the one that is able to market our carpet cleaning business most effectively. And this is where a lot of you guys come unstuck, particularly the venues.
During day 2, the group was split into job-specific sessions. The sales members were treated to a LinkedIn masterclass and a session focused on sales improvement called the Challenger Sale.
The ops members learned more about our new HBAA customer service NVQ and also how creativity can be injected into all their roles.
The business owners and leaders had a health check of their business and a session on corporate finance and strategic planning. After 2 days of education, information and networking and reconnecting, we closed day 2 with the generation game. This session was delivered by father and son team, Tony and Jason Potter. The older generation has the wisdom and the experience to make preparing for the future more effective. But the younger generation is dynamic, faster, more creative, more experimental and in tune with technology, so are able to prepare and shape the future for us. But both need each other. The younger generation can learn from the older and perhaps make a few less mistakes. But the old ones can learn from the new about bravery, experimentation and technology. Here is a little of Jason and Tony in action.
So don't let's get too complicated about the split on generations. Just let's say there's baby boomers, like me, and there's the younger generation. So just put your hands up if you consider, like me, you are a baby boomer. Okay? And if you're a member of the younger generation, put your hand up. What are the people in the middle? Can you just explain?
Your generation was a generation, in my opinion, that kind of got the opportunities and the chances early in life. You yourself, you were a general manager at 24. I used the example earlier that people come out of school at 22 and they want to be a general manager. Your generation kind of did that. You grew up early. You got married young. You bought a house young. You got given senior positions maybe at a younger age. So why are your generation so reluctant to do the same with us?
It's an interesting question. To be honest, I don't think we are reluctant to do it. I think the first thing I should say, being a general manager at 24, somebody actually misunderstood my age and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But I do think as a generation, we tended to get used to taking on more responsibility. We left home earlier. Don't let's shut down. Don't let's do what a lot of people of my generation have done and say social media won't last. It's a fad. I'm ignoring it. As Jason said, with billions of people involved, this is not a fad. It's not going to go away. It will be cross-generational. Learn the language, whatever the language is of different generations, let's use it. Let's make people feel comfortable. Stop living in the past and let's get into the future and let's get into a new generational era.
If you attended the forum this year, we truly hope you enjoyed the experience.
If you missed it, then I hope this catch-up helped give you a flavour of what you missed and also convinced you to sign up for next year.
We are both here for you to make your association more relevant, more accessible and more engaging.
So tell us how we can do more for you and tell us what you think about the changes we're bringing to you.
Thank you, as always, for your time and support. We always appreciate it and never take it for granted.
So we hope to see you soon at an HBAA event.
Goodbye.